exactly 1 second to 5, and I really appreciate that you made the way through the rain here to our second EFILA lecture, annual lecture, which will be delivered, as you can see, by Johnny Veeder QC. But before I continue, I would like also to pause for a moment and recall the horrific terrorist events which took place a year ago here in Brussels and in Paris. It was due to these events that we had to relocate our first EFILA lecture to London, which, as you know, was delivered by Sophie Nappert and won also the GAR prize. So I think, and also because I came here so often to Brussels, I think it is fitting to commemorate all the victims of these terrorist attacks, but not only in Brussels and Paris, of course, but also in London, Madrid, New York, and around the world. I think it is good to see that the people of these cities have shown to be resilient and are still standing, so to speak, so that we can be here today and meet in freedom. So I feel personally honored that Johnny Veeder has immediately accepted our invitation to deliver the second EFILA annual lecture. And the title of his lecture, as you know, is "The Phoenix to Emerge from the Ashes of TTIP and CETA, an International Appellate Court for Investment Disputes in Europe." This could not have been chosen better in terms of timing. The lecture is just perfect. And especially after we witnessed the CETA drama, which just was caused by our friends around the corner in Wallonie. So it couldn't have been better, both in terms of timing and title. But before I give the floor to Johnny, let me say a few words about EFILA and its activities. So EFILA was created 2.5 years ago as a non-profit NGO based in Brussels, which aims to provide a platform for a balanced debate about the benefits of arbitration in the context of the EU's investment policy. We felt that there was a pressing need to present a different view compared to the anti-ISDS, anti-trade, anti-globalization propaganda that has been unfolding right here at Schuman, but also in some of the member states, notably in Germany, the Netherlands, Austria, and France. But funnily enough, not for instance in Italy. I've just come from Italy and I'm teaching there in Verona, and nobody talks about that. So that's very interesting. Same in Spain, actually. So it's very interesting to note that it's just these important pro-ISDS countries like Germany and the Netherlands where you see this discussion. So EFILA tries to present its views based on real-life experience in arbitration and investment policy by experts and professionals who know what they're talking about. So our membership brings together different backgrounds and expertise in investment law and arbitration, which I think is still unique in Europe. So far, we have organized 2 annual conferences, and many of you have been there both in London and in Paris. And the next one, and therefore, can somebody do the slides? I think up, one up. Sorry about that. Didn't instruct. Yes. So please save the date for our next annual conference, which will take place quite soon in Vienna with, I believe, the fitting title of the External Relations, or what is left of it, of the EU's investment law and policy. And you're very welcome, of course, to register as soon as possible. We will make the program known very quickly. But I also want to mention, please, the other up, baby, my baby, if I may say so, and Lucas Mistelli's baby, which is our new European Investment Law and Arbitration Review. You have received the flyer at the reception, and this review, which is published by Brill Martinus Nijhoff, will come out in the next weeks, I believe 19 December, and when you order before the end of the year, you get a special discount. I really encourage you to order it for your law firm, but also, more importantly, I urge you to submit pieces, articles, short or long, for, of course, a peer-reviewed publication. I also want to mention the EFILA blog. EFILA blog was established 1 year ago, and we have already more than 33,000 visitors, which I think is quite a lot. And again, we welcome small pieces with particular perspectives, and it would be great to stimulate the debate, because I think it's really a good platform. Finally, I also want to mention our in-depth, if you like, EFILA publications, which are all available freely on our website. And in particular, I want to mention the EFILA task force paper on the proposed investment court system, which was presented last February at our conference. It is a 60-page in-depth analysis written by a number of people, also non-EFILA associated people. And I believe it was at that time the very first in-depth analysis of the ICS proposal. And interestingly, it has been picked up and referred and analyzed extensively recently by Gabriela Kaufmann-Kohler for her report for the UNCITRAL with regard to the multilateral investment court. She discussed our points quite extensively. But also last month, there was a report by the American Bar Association Task Force on the ICS, just published last month, where they also extensively discuss our points and actually support many of our concerns that we raised. So I think this shows that EFILA's views are taken seriously and that we are perceived as a credible and important think tank, rather than a cheap lobby group, as some of the anti-ISDS critics have been suggesting. And of course, we do welcome new members, both individuals and corporate, and I'm happy to discuss that with you over drinks. In any case, we will continue our work by developing more activities and producing more papers in the future. But let me now turn to our guest of honor, Johnny Veeder. I think there is no need for me to introduce him to you, because you all know him. Suffice to say that John is, in my view, one of the most experienced and renowned arbitrators in the world. He has also been very active in academia as a professor and in various arbitration institutions, such as ICA and the LCIA. But I think it is in particular worth noting that Johnny is doing both commercial and investment treaty arbitration. And I think that is really a great advantage, because it brings both worlds together. So, after this lecture, we will have time for a Q&A session, which will be moderated by Matthew Parrish, partner at Gensio Law, who is one of our sponsors. Can you go back to our sponsors? And we have also sponsors from FTI Consulting, who are here massively, and from Kubas Kos Galkowski, who are from Warsaw and are our Platinum EFILA member and very, very supportive. So, we will have a Q&A at 6:45. We will have our well-deserved drink, and we can continue networking and discuss other things, especially those that happened last night. And finally, some housekeeping. I want to stress that this event is taking place under the Chatham House rules. That's very important. I also want to stress that we are going to film the lecture, but not the Q&A. So feel totally free to raise any questions. We want to put the lecture, if it works technically, on our EFILA YouTube channel, and you will of course receive the link. So I would like to ask you to refrain from filming yourself or taping yourself, right? That would be much appreciated. So without further ado, I would like to give the floor to Johnny.